What is up, beautiful people? Okay, so today's video, I got a special treat for you. I'm gonna title it Love the Haters, because there's a lot of them out there, and it's not what you think. So don't turn off the video before you hear the whole story. So over the past couple days, I've had a couple of issues, and has caused me to reach out to you guys to kind of tell you about the haters, because I know that you already know who they are, and they're here to stay, and they're not going to amount to much. But their mission is to destroy your dreams, to discourage you from your goals, to add doubt to your potential, all of those things, and then more. We could sit here for days just talking about all of the qualities that haters do. But I want to share a few stories with you, a few real stories about my life that you can apply to your life and deal with haters. Because I believe, pay attention, I believe that haters are the fuel that a lot of us need to succeed, right? So let me start with a few personal stories. When I was younger, I was a police explorer riding around with the police officers, and some of them were great people, and a few of them were mediocre, and the rest were doubters and haters and pessimists, right? So when I would ride with these people, I was a police explorer, I was very young, very easily influenced, and they would always have doubt. They would look at me and say, you probably should pick another career. I'm miserable in this career. I hate writing reports. I hate talking to people. I hate solving people's problems, and etc., etc. We're not going to waste too much time on that. Then the mediocre people, it just depended on the day. They were somewhat bipolar, and if you caught them on the good day, they were great people. If you caught them on a bad day, they were the worst than the bad haters. And then obviously there were the positive people that I had, and one guy in particular, his name was Gary, and he was always in a good mood, and he sought to achieve his goals. At the beginning of the shift, he set out what he set out to accomplish, and he went out and accomplished it. And we would say, okay, today we're gonna do some park checks. We've had some graffiti at this park. We're gonna go over there and see if we can catch some kids doing it. We're gonna do some school checks. We're gonna talk to the down business people, and we're gonna go write some speeding tickets and maybe get into a couple pursuits, stuff that people who are in law enforcement talk about. And Gary was a super positive influencer on my life while growing up. Now, other people that I had when I was talking about going through the police academy, there were people who would tell me, oh my gosh, that's so dangerous. Why do you want to go into law enforcement? Oh, it's terrible. It's this, it's that. And you know what? They were all wrong. They had doubts in their mind themselves, and those doubts were spreading like seeds to other people. It's almost like, and tell me if you agree on the comments, these haters, these pessimists, they use seeds of doubt. It's almost like they get happy when they discourage you from accomplishing a goal, and it's almost like they got a little notch on their belt. They discourage one more person. And so my first attempt at discouragement was early on, when I was my 14, 15, 16 years old, easily influenced, yet I never swayed. I was like, I was determined to do it. Years later, I attended an ROTC Army boot camp, and it was a 4-week type of boot camp in Fort Ord, Monterey, California. Some of you guys know that's been turned into a university campus. But anyway, it was one of the most difficult things that I underwent. It was basically boot camp, and we got out of the bus, and people are screaming at us and calling us all kinds of foul names, and you can't, you losers, you this, you that. And it kind of was a shock of my life. It was an eye-opening experience, because we are brought up to be sensitive. We're brought up to be, oh my gosh, he called me a name, and for those weeks that I was there, I was bombarded with insults and put downs and screaming in my face type of just trying to break me down. And in the beginning, I won't lie to you, in the beginning it was something that I wasn't used to, and it just tore me apart. But then something inside of me woke up. It was almost like they tear you down and they build you back up. And this video should be to wake you up. This should be your build up. You don't have to go through a boot camp experience. You don't have to get screamed at, yelled at. You know, you can't do this, you won't do this, you're never gonna amount to anything. All the stuff that people tell you while you're growing up. This video is just offering stories so that you find what it is that you're supposed to be doing in this life, whatever the career is, whatever your purpose is, and then go out there and accomplish it. And stop the excuses, stop listening to others' advice, especially the pessimist advice. And so you got to find that. You got to use that as energy to make you go forward. So after the academy, I was hired as an undercover agent, and you know, didn't really like it because it wasn't what I was meant to do. I have good stories about that, but the world is not what I thought it was in the middle of that program. And then I became a police officer, realized my long life dream came true after applying, and I've mentioned in some of these other videos, at 30 plus agencies. I didn't apply with one agency, I got hired, didn't apply at two. I applied at 30 agencies. California has 300 of them. And so if you look at that, I went out there and just steadily did it. I had a girlfriend who didn't want me to be a police officer, and that relationship ended because of that. It was she didn't want to get married to a police officer, she didn't want to date a police officer, and she wanted me to stop going to these job interviews. And I definitely was set on doing it. It wasn't like I questioned, should I do it? Is this the right thing? No, I knew in my heart that I wanted to go out there and help people, that I want to be a public servant. So when I finally got hired by this agency, I found at that agency the same type of officers that I had when I was a police explorer. I quickly surrounded myself with 2 or 3 young officers who were like me and enjoyed living life and enjoyed people and enjoyed laughing and joking and just hanging out. And man, I formed some really strong relationships with those people. One of them, Mike, if he ever listens to this video, I consider him to be like a brother. You know, Ron, we became good friends. We went jet skiing. We formed lifelong relationships. And while I was at Patterson, because of my service to the community, because of the way we respected and treated people, both Mike and I won Officer of the Year awards. I mean, that's an incredible honor to achieve. They only issue these awards once a year, and Mike and I both won the Officer of the Year award because we were determined to go out there and to look good. Mike had a previous military experience, and he always looked sharp, and he had a canine, and I was bringing up my canine, and we had similar interests, and we did really well together. And then eventually we parted ways and went to different agencies, but the story continues, and there's more to share. And so at 26, I decided I was going to go back to college. I had had a few scuffs in law enforcement, and I started to think about what would I do in case I ever got injured. What would I do, you know? And so I decided to go back to school. And it wasn't easy. I was working full-time hours. I was married. I was commuting. And but you know what? I did it. In 3 years, I got my 2-year degree. And it felt great to graduate. It felt amazing to get that college diploma at 29. And so then I transferred to another agency. And when I was there, it was like I was immediately identified as one of the officers that stood out, that liked to go out there and help people, that liked arresting bad guys, like putting bad guys in jail and all that good stuff. And so it was then that I decided I'm gonna go back to school. And same thing, a few of the guys I was working with, why do you want to go back to school? Why do you want to do that? Again, the pessimists, the haters, they're everywhere, you guys. They're everywhere. But instead of like you looking at it and saying, oh my gosh, why are the haters everywhere? You need to say, how can I turn this to my advantage? Haters are, like I said earlier in this video, they're the fuel. They're the fuel that keeps us going. And so anyway, I got my degree. I left the law enforcement. I got hired as a college professor, and after a few years there, same thing happened. I had a dean, and she was trying to figure out how to go up in the college district, and she wanted to work on her doctorate. This is after I got my master's, of course. And so her and I and this other lady, an instructor, we got, we started a doctorate program in Stockton, UOP in Stockton. And we weren't there a week before I was walking to the bookstore with the two of them, and her and this other lady were like, why do you want to go back to school? You have young kids. This is not the right time. You should try another time. Maybe when you're older, maybe when you have. And I was looking at these people, shaking my head, thinking they have no clue who I am. They have no clue how much determination I have. And I hope that as you're watching this video, you find your determination. You find that inner grit that says, no, I'm not a freaking quitter. I'm not a quitter. These haters will not have me. And so, even though that program didn't work out and I switched to a different program, they eventually, both of them quit. The one faculty member, she quit the program before I dropped out. And then both the dean and I left to go separate ways. She went to, I think, University of Oregon, and then I went to a different university to get my PhD. She never completed the degree. She never completed the doctorate. But me, I started a PhD program. And I don't know if you guys know what that means. I mean, I think the group that we started, it was a worldwide group type of thing, like 270 students. And at the end of 4.5 years, I was number 4 or 5 to graduate. It's a person that never took any time off type of thing. I went right through the whole thing. I did not quit. And so I am not a quitter. I've had struggles in my life. People have come at me with everything they have. And I am not a quitter. I'm not a quitter. A few days ago, I get this student that reaches out to me that one of my followers on Instagram is upset because I put a heart next to one of my students' pictures, and of course now it's oh my God, she's not even that cute and all this other stuff. Again, haters, people. These are haters, and how do haters act? They hate. And so, although I appreciated students reaching out to me and telling me about these things, it's not going to stop me. I still feel that all of you that are following my channel, you guys are beautiful people. You really are. To me, you're the future of this world, this country. You have goals, you have aspirations. And so I just want you, by this video, as you're watching it, I want you to understand that haters are important in your life, okay? They are miserable in their own lives, but they are super important. They are the ones that will motivate you to accomplish your goals. And I hope that by the end of this video, they say, gosh, Brian, you're right, and I am right? And so look at the examples that I showed you. People who tried to discourage me from becoming a police officer. They were miserable. When I look back and I think, who were these people? These were what I call miserable individuals. They hated their lives. They had no goals, no aspirations. They were miserable in their careers. They were miserable in their lives, and they just spread misery, like I mentioned earlier. They spread the seeds of doubt. They are constantly spreading gossip. They're constantly talking about others, and yet they don't work on themselves, right? And so, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that my main purpose is to build you up to your full potential. I have no other responsibilities or claims other than to use my life experience to do it. In the police academy, during the police academy, another story on the side, I had people take me aside. These are big guys, 6 foot plus, take me aside during these study sessions. Like 3 of them take me aside and say, we care about you. We were talking about you the other day, and we're worried about you that you're going to be in danger if you get hired in law enforcement. Have you thought about doing something else? in the academy. I'm talking about in the police academy. And it's interesting, I'm not going to make fun of it, but 2 of the 3 guys that talked to me, within 5 years, they were out of law enforcement. One was handed a job on a platter, basically the first job he applied in law enforcement. And then the other guy just decided that's not what he wanted to do, and he quit on his own. And as far as I know, 1 of the 3 is still working in law enforcement or just recently retired. So again, my point for this whole video is the haters, right? You gotta love the haters. They are the ones that are always gonna be there constantly giving you that advice. Okay, before we close, pessimists think very different than optimists. I'm an optimist. I always look for the good in things. A pessimist will look through a window out into a beautiful prairie and they'll see the spots on the window, right? The window's dirty. The optimist looks through the window and sees the beautiful valley. And I hope that you become an optimist by watching my videos. I hope that you use this energy that I'm trying to put out through these videos when I tell you to stop watching the frickin' news, when I tell you to stop watching negative videos, to stop watching, overindulging on Netflix and other activities that are not building your future self. Your future self is waiting, and if you work on your degree now, don't listen to all these people. What is the use of a college degree? You have a certificate that never expires. It's good for the whole life, right? It adds validity in front of your name. When you go and get a college degree, you take these courses that open up your eyes to seeing all the possibilities that exist in the world. I mean, you'll take sociology courses, you'll take psychology courses, you'll take math, you'll take English, you'll take PE. I mean, you will be exposed to the world, to all the people that have different aspirations, different goals. And so it's not about just going to college and sitting in a classroom and doing your papers and everything else. No. When you go through college degrees, you transform internally, you transform mentally. You open up your mind to what is possible. You start to become humble. You get a better understanding of how the world operates. When I was a police officer without a college degree, I thought that we, the law enforcement agency, were the hub of the whole community. We were it. When something happens, they called us. And then I went back to college and I realized that the police is only one of the spokes on the bike wheel. You know, the bike wheel has many spokes. Well, law enforcement is only one spoke on that. And look what's happening right now. I mean, if I don't want to date this video, but people are doing police reform. And why? Because so many in law enforcement have forgotten who they serve. The police power comes from serving their community. Their community formed a police department. The peace officer powers are issued by the state of California, but the power to have the badge, a city's decision to have its own police force, is its own. And so, and of course, history repeats itself, and we're not going to go through this. So back to my point, right? Back to my point. You're not a quitter, okay? You're a beautiful person. Don't take these videos any other way other than to motivate you to finish your goals. Finish your goals so that someday you don't look back and you become part of the if I had done this, I would have been that. If only I had done this, I would have done that. You know, the people that I always ran into in law enforcement, I almost went through the police academy. And then I'd be like, well, did you? And the answer would be no. Then I said, then you didn't, right? You didn't almost anything, right? You did not almost anything. You just didn't, okay? Don't get me wrong. Trying something and then failing is one thing, right? You enrolled in the police academy and it was too physically demanding and you failed out. Okay, you failed out. But quitting is a whole different ball of wax here, right? Quitting on your dreams, quitting on your goals, listening to the naysayers, following the haters' advice. That is a whole different thing, probably a whole nother video. So I'm gonna end this video. I hope that you enjoyed my advice. I hope that the next time a hater reaches out to you about negativity about your professor or negativity about somebody else or gossip, that you will go and you will look at them and say, you know what, I don't want to go in that direction, right? I just posted a thing on gossip, right? If they gossip about others to you, they will gossip about you to others. Gossipers are toxic. I mean, there's no good fuel on that. But anyway, so love the haters. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my channel. Please follow the advice I'm giving you here. Share it with others who want to get into law enforcement. Share it with others who want to finish their college degrees, their personal goals, etc. Thank you for listening, and take great care of yourself. Okay, I care about all of you, and I hope you continue to watch my YouTube channel and get this advice, as it will help you succeed in life.